So am I sharing my screen? Great, thank you. All right. All right, well, welcome everybody to our annual membership meeting. We appreciate you all being here, and especially on a Saturday morning and with soccer games going on, and maybe we won't hear the result, but I'm sure someone might pop in and tell us. So there's a whole bunch of you, so I can't say hi to everybody. I said hi to Karen. Alan Young is here. Great, we really, Kevin, thank you for logging in from Ireland, and Bill Stombaugh from down south, and I'm sure you're having a nice warm day there. We're talking about being cold up here. So I will get started. First, I would like to welcome Lila Jafar to Partnering for Peace. She has agreed to speak to our membership, and to accommodate her schedule, I'd like to put her on first, and then we'll proceed with the business portion of the meeting. So I hope that's all right. Lila is the new Director of Strategic Partnerships and Intergovernmental Affairs at Peace Corps. She first served as the Peace Corps White House liaison, brings over 20 years of international development, nonprofit, and campaign organizing experience, with a focus on designing and implementing strategies and programs to strengthen democracy, political inclusion, and civic participation. I think you've got everything in there. That's great. Lila most recently served as Chief of Staff to the political and organizing team at the Democratic National Committee. And as an interesting note, a California native, Lila has spent a cumulative 20 years living in Syria, Lebanon, and Egypt. And from 2007 to 2011, and throughout the Arab Spring, she served as the National Democratic Institute resident representative in Cairo. So I think we'll give you a pass on being a PCV, because I sounds like you're very culturally integrated. So we'd like to give you a warm welcome from all of us at Partnering for Peace, and we'll look forward to working with you and Ted, of course, at Peace Corps, which is half of our partnership. So I'll turn it over to you, May.
Thank you so much, Kim, and good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today. I've heard from Ted what an incredible strategic partner Rotary International and Partnering for Peace have been to the Peace Corps. And I'm so excited for the opportunity for us to grow and strengthen our collaboration as we return to service. So thank you for this opportunity as I start in my new role. I've been on for just a month right now, so getting up to speed. And I just want to give a huge thank you to Ted, who has been serving as the acting director of SPIGA for almost 2 years, and doing that while continuing to steward Peace Corps' numerous strategic partnerships. I have such huge shoes to fill, but I'm grateful for all he's done to keep us connected with yourselves and others throughout the pandemic and a time of uncertainty. We are in the position to hit the ground running because of his leadership and growing the collaboration between ourselves as we return to service. So Ted, thank you for all that you've done and will continue to do. I also want to thank Carrie Golden from Rotary Service and Engagement Team, who I just met. Her enthusiasm and strategic mindset that she brings to the collaboration between our organizations is so appreciated. And I also want to thank the leadership team at Partnering for Peace, Kim, Steve, Charlie, Karen, and the many other Rotarians.
The entire scenario under the leadership of Dr. Sanjit Singh sir, our pro vice chancellor sir, who has given completely, the team is geared up. We are all aligned as a one.
Okay.
You may not Roger, I think we need you to go on mute. Steve, can you mute him?
Thanks.
I don't see Roger. I'll look.
Also Bhaskar sir and the entire teams for extending such a great opportunity to bring the best part of the world.
So
and
grateful for all of leadership's investment of time and effort to make this MOU a reality, and for your support and adaptability throughout the pandemic to pivot to the support and needs of the opportunities for volunteers and communities in which they serve. So we are just so grateful for you and grateful for this partnership. So thank you. I wanted to dive in and just share some Peace Corps updates and highlights with you. So as you know, we have a talented and impressive team at the Peace Corps, and together we've made tremendous progress since the global evacuation of volunteers in March 2020 due to the pandemic. After almost exactly 2 years to the day, we began returning volunteers to service in March of this year. And in just the several months since then, we already have more than 900 volunteers serving in 45 countries, which is just about 70% of the countries in which we have a presence. So that's been incredible to get up to speed that quickly. So right now we have 56 countries, about 52 posts that are issuing invitations for the next group of volunteers. There are 7 countries that have not yet met our criteria for re-entry. We take into consideration many health, safety, and logistical factors. For some of these countries, it's for obvious reasons, such as in the case of Ukraine or Ethiopia. We're not able at this moment to safely return volunteers to service there. In some other countries, it is for administrative reasons. So such as in the case of Mozambique, we're working to resolve persistent visa issues with the government there. So those are just some of the hindrances, but it is a handful of countries. All that being said, we have returned or welcomed back a reinstating volunteer in almost every country where we have a presence now. That means that a volunteer who was evacuated in 2020 has rejoined the Peace Corps more than 2 years later to complete their service. It's such a demonstration of commitment to service and the deep relationships that volunteers have formed with their communities. Just has been incredible to witness, especially as somebody more, newer to Peace Corps. And already in just the few months that we've returned volunteers to service, we have so many, just a wealth of stories that will warm your heart. And again, just a reminder of why we do what we do. So we're excited to keep that growing. We've also returned volunteers to Kenya, that a country that has not had volunteers since 2014 due to incredible moments. And our first ever trainees arrived in Vietnam last month. It's the first time that we are sending volunteers to Vietnam. Yes, I see the hands, Bernadine and Ken. Yes. So exciting. Just for you to know, this country agreement was over 20 years in the making. It has been a long time in the making, but it's a demonstration of the healthy bilateral relations and respect between the US and Vietnam, and we couldn't be more excited. The trainees there in Vietnam will swear in as volunteers in late December. So we're closing out 2022 strong, and are so excited for that, to see that happen. We're going to continue to ramp up and expand our presence throughout 2023. We have been returning volunteers in small cohorts, and as we test out new systems and processes that we put in place to make sure that everyone is returning safely, and have been learning along the way. So now we'll be sending out second waves and just growing our presence in the coming year. And we hope to return to COVID levels in 58 countries by fiscal year 24. So that we had, just for you all to know, approximately 7,500 volunteers serving at the time of the global evacuation. So we have a lot of work to do to get our numbers back up to that level. So what are we doing to get us there? Right now, the agency is currently rallying around the theme of connect. Connect with our PCVs, connect with communities, connect with opportunities to serve. And that's what we're asking of our global strategic partners. How can you help? What does this look like? So a couple of things I just want to put out there. First, help us keep collecting and disseminating stories of collaboration, identifying, tracking, and publishing more stories and how-tos of Peace Corps and Rotary collaborations that can be shared through your networks and ours. Second, help us tap Rotary's vast domestic network, both members, those who you engage with, to consider service in the Peace Corps through one of our several tracks, Peace Corps Response, and also the virtual service program, which we piloted during the pandemic, but is going to be a mainstay right now for the Peace Corps because it has been so successful and because there is a demand. So we're broadening opportunities for folks to serve, based on, what the time they have, right? Their life considerations, we're making it easier for folks to serve with the Peace Corps. And third, if you're an RPCV, reach out to other RPCVs through affiliate groups, through your countries of service, and help us to work to build a pipeline and bridge between Peace Corps service to engagement with Rotary post-service. Fourth, I would say, is also help encourage U.S. Rotary clubs to support Peace Corps partnership projects as they come back online in 2023. And we'll keep you posted with those updates and progress. And then continue to help us link U.S. or overseas Rotary clubs with Peace Corps posts as the opportunities emerge. This is something I know the group here has been very keen on realizing, and I'm excited to share that it's something we will be focusing on in the new year through regional events, where we'll aim to inform Peace Corps country staff about our partnership with you and facilitate connections between Rotarians and Peace Corps leaders in country. Yes, a lot of good things to come. We are really looking at activating the partnership and growing the work together. So these are just, I wanted to throw out a few ideas. We will look to continue, right, for opportunities for us to connect in real time and as I said, activate the strategic partnership. But I am so excited about the work ahead and the opportunities that we have together. So thank you again for the opportunity to join and just give you a brief snapshot and get to know you. And just know Ted and I are here. If you have any questions, any follow-up, we're looking forward to staying in close contact with everyone.
Great. Thank you, Lila. Yeah, thank you so much. And now that the Peace Corps volunteers are back, we just see that there's such a huge opportunity to help the volunteers and to help the Peace Corps initiatives in country. And so we're so glad that you're bringing that up. And I know Ted's been trying to work on it, and we know the countries have been busy, but we can really help in so many ways. So we're excited that you're open to that. I know Ted is maybe that we wouldn't ask you questions because you're new, but do you have a second? Does anyone have a burning question that they need to ask?
I do.
Hi, Harlan.
Hi, Leila. Yeah, lovely presentation. I was a little late, sorry. My Rotary work is all in Eastern Congo. And I'm wondering if the Peace Corps is going to be active again in Rwanda and, you know, the surrounding areas, so that I can make contact with them, because we have very active Rotary clubs. In Eastern Congo, we contribute hundreds of thousands of dollars to be our Rotary clubs to that part of the Congo. Is there anything out in that area that the Peace Corps is contemplating?
Let me get back to you on that, Harlan. I can tell you, so out of those 45 countries, what are the countries in the region? I'd love to circle back with you and let you know. I am not sure, or Ted, I'm not sure if you know if Rwanda or Congo, if we are there yet.
I'm sure there's nobody in Congo. It's the Rotaries, but Uganda and Rwanda. Rwanda's always had active Peace Corps in the past. Anybody going back there, because we'd love to connect with them if they would.
Absolutely. I'll take note, Harlan, and
Sure.
we'll keep you posted on that front.
Yeah, there's very successful. We have successful programs right there around Lake Kivu. But on the north side of it, it's still chaos, military and you know, killings and so forth. But we have a peaceful area in the south that we like to keep that way.
All right. Thank you, Harlan, and thank you, Lila. And with that, I will cut off the questions, because I know that everyone's got their own little interest, and it's not fair to put you on the spot since you're brand new on this. But anyways, we welcome you. We're so pleased. Ted has, has been just fabulous and wearing so many hats. So we really appreciate that you keeping us going, Ted, with everything else you've been doing. And we're looking forward to being part of having you be part of Partnering for Peace and our mission and initiatives. So thanks so much, Lila. If you want to stay on for a little bit, feel free, or we can go. I know you've got a schedule. So
absolutely. Just thanks again, Kim. And if there's questions that you get and you want to send to us, please feel free. And we look forward to staying in touch. Thanks again for this opportunity.
Great. Thank you. Thanks so much, Lila.
Right.
Okay, let's move on to the, and that's just great. Let's move on to the agenda for the rest of the meeting. And thank you, Ted. Lila, that's just great. And again, I'm sure Ted is happy that he only has to wear a few hats instead of the big one. Moving on to the approval of the 2021 annual member meeting minutes. I need, you did receive a couple notes to link to that and make sure there weren't any changes. Does anybody have any changes or corrections to last year's annual meeting? Okay, I think I'll take that as a no. Can I have a motion to approve the annual meeting minutes from last year?
So moved, Charlie Hunt.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second, Harlan.
Thank you, Harlan. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the president's report, if I may, and I'll stop sharing here so I can see everybody when they. Great, and thank you, Lila. That's really fabulous. 2022 was a very good year. We were very pleased with, even though we were still struggling with the volunteers going back into the field. I think that we really embraced the RPCVs and the Rotary clubs in America and throughout the world. And I think that we did some very good work. With the war in Ukraine, as well as many other conflicts in the world currently, I think the year in general for many of us revolved around the focus of peace. Our Rotary Peace Corps Week theme this year was peace building on the ground, and highlighted so many joint projects that Rotary and the Peace Corps communities have done together to foster this peace. If you did attend any sessions during Rotary Peace Corps Week, and I hope you did, you may note that our Monday kickoff session, Chick Damba and Peter Kyle described the history of Peace Corps and Rotary, respectively, and how in the end, they really both revolved around peace building. You can see that recording if you're interested on our website, right on the homepage. Charlie, if you could If you could put the YouTube channel in the chat, that would also help us. Thanks. I recently heard an excellent talk about peace being 3 types: within 3 feet of ourselves, within the community, and then throughout the world. So peace within ourselves and our family, and then reaching out locally to our communities, as we all do, and then internationally. Reaching out to others in need and trying to bring peace to this world. Rotary Peace Corps Week, excellent job was done by all who participated, with Erica Brulette as its chair. Thank you so much. As our goal to grow awareness, education, and outreach, the week focused on a year of this work. Publicity and PR was key to getting the word out all year, not just during Rotary Peace Corps Week. We have grown in members, online engagements, and Facebook, LinkedIn, and other social media contacts. The Houston Rotary Convention helped with new members and build new membership, and so did Keith Bell, who would not give it up. I don't know how many people you signed up, but we really appreciate that, Keith. This helps get the word out. So if you're not a member and you just saw this on Facebook, please sign up. It's free. Or you can give a little donation if you like. And speaking of the Rotary Convention, we want to thank Steve and Ed Picard for organizing it. It really worked out so well. It was my first Rotary International Convention, and I'm still amazed by it all. Also, if you weren't aware, we were honored by the MPCA Rupee Award, and along with our PCV Alliance for Ukraine and Friends of Moldova. We were humbled by this recognition, and we thank Tony Agnello for the nomination. I don't know if Tony's on today. He usually is. And for keeping us on our toes. Tony's good at that. The award announcement is in our September newsletter, so please check it out. But moreover, I think that the work done with these 2 other NPCA groups demonstrated yet another perfect example of the Rotary Peace Corps partnership. Let me give you 2 examples of these groups. The first example is the initiation of a special fund from Rotary Foundation to the tune of $14 million that was specifically earmarked for disaster response to support the refugees in and from the Ukrainian war. Friends of Moldova had collected an amazing amount of donations for refugees that had come to Moldova and the 90,000 refugees that are still there. David Jamal, who is one of the members of Friends of Moldova, I think is with us today. I don't see him yet though, but he's logging in, I know. He says a disaster response grant for the refugees. He helped us with a disaster response grant to the tune of $25,000, which, and I saw the pictures, was about 2 million pounds of food. It was really amazing. But unfortunately, that was only about a week's worth of food for the refugee settlements. The magic of this partnership, though, became evident when the United States District did the application and took the responsibility for receiving the funds and filing the paperwork. Friends of Moldova, and many of those RPCVs are on the ground in Moldova, identified a supplier and an NGO to manage the delivery, and a local Moldovan Rotary Club supported the whole effort, including delivery verification, and worked alongside the RPCVs. The second example that was brought forth in the Rupee Award was the RPCVs from the Donbas region of the Ukraine, who identified a large need around the local hospital there. Alliance for Ukraine has also been so successfully in raising funds to support Ukraine, sent Natasha Wambach, who I know is on the call, to us, to Partnering for Peace. Thank you for reaching out to the locals in your former PC site in that region, and you knew a trustworthy NGO. You worked with the NGO, collected the requirements, found and supported the connection with the local Ukrainian Rotary Club, and filled in the application, which again, the US district had to submit. since Ukraine has had their quotas already of the DRGs. This application was submitted right in the 11th hour before the DRG funds for the Ukraine were exhausted. So we got it through. We were very fortunate to have two great partnerships. In Natasha's case, the local Ukrainian Rotary Club is quite excited to work with the local NGO there. And that was all due to Natasha and the RPCVs putting it together. It was really, and Moldova still has RPCVs on the ground and is working with people there. On a more global basis, the Rotary districts in Denver and Las Vegas have been working on a large global grant to support the Ukraine, and that's presently underway, as well as many, many other Rotary clubs and RPCV groups that have been doing so much work. All these are just examples of what the connections can accomplish and the skills that we all bring to the table for these beneficiaries. Be it water and hygiene in Africa, climate change issues around the world, Vanuatu comes to mind, conflict resolution in Asia. We're all stronger if we work together. And I continue to be humbled by what we can do together. It was really an amazing year for so many reasons, but that just sticks in my mind as a perfect demonstration of the skills of both organizations working together. Moving on, the final financials are not here yet, but I think we'll be a little bit in the black, so that's good. Of course, our membership is free, but people that give little donations really help us out. Our biggest cost really is just our website from MPCA that we have to pay for. And that's about it. Moving on, we have 5 board members transitioning off the board this year. Rick Wallen, Bill Miller, Karen Pourvoir, Dick Pyle, terms are up, and Vanna Pruitt had to step down prematurely due to illness. So we thank all of you for all your service. And I'd like to mention that our former board members don't go away. They continue to help. Wick, Karen, and Bill have all offered to do specific projects for next year, and we so appreciate that. Also, Bill Stamba and Harlan Green, who are on the call, former board members and still very, very active. So we really appreciate all your support and help. And Steve, as our past president, you always have the floor for a little bit further comments on this year's effort, and then I'll turn it over to you for the elections of the new board members.
Thank you, Kim. I don't really have anything to add to your report as the immediate past president. So I was asked to step into the governance committee chair position when Dick Pyle also had to step down prematurely for personal reasons. So I'm ready to give that report. You know, I guess maybe I have one quick little comment. And that is Kim referenced a project to help Ukrainian refugees, and that my club has provided a sizable donation to that project, but it's a project that RPCVs of Ukraine and Moldova helped with. They identified NGOs that were serving internally displaced Ukrainians and other Ukrainians who have been affected by the war. And so, so it was a really good partnership, and the Rotary Club of Las Vegas and the Rotary Club of Kyiv were the lead groups, Rotary clubs, and a lot of clubs have contributed, but our club raised quite a bit of money for Ukrainian relief. And so that's the project that Kim referenced, but it's another good example of how our partnership can result in good work in the field. So I can bring up the report. Hopefully there we go. Does that show? Okay. So this is the governance committee report. I do want to just point out that the governance committee reviews the activity of the current board, reviews the needs of the organization. And generally, we try to bring people up to the board from committee assignments. So we would really encourage all of you to help us out, because this partnership will get stronger and stronger as we have more Rotary clubs and Rotary districts involved and working with Peace Corps volunteers now that they're going back to their sites, or working with our PCV groups. And so I only mentioned that project in Ukraine because it's an example of how Peace Corps volunteers and Rotary clubs working together can do effective work. So as Kim mentioned, we are in debt to a number of our board members who are term limited and going off the board. Dick Pyle has already left the board again, as I mentioned, for personal reasons, and then Kim thanked our other board members who are rotating off. And the strength of Partnering for Peace is that it's a real working board and everybody pitches in quite a bit. Kim is staying on the board, so is our treasurer, Ross Fieser, myself, Erica Roulet, who chaired the Peace Corps Rotary Week, Ed Pettit, who's on the call from Houston today, Cal Mann from Washington, D.C., and Chantel Dorkstein-Vo from Ventura, California, and Kevin Denny, who's called in today from Ireland, and then Charlie Hunt, who's been the partner in crime in developing this partnership. Charlie and I are both in Denver, and the partnership started in our district. So those board members are going to continue, but we're really pleased that we have a very strong slate of board members that the governance committee reviewed, talked to, and feel that their qualifications and experience will really take Partnering for Peace to a whole new level. So their bios should be up on the screen. And Alan is on the call, calling in from Hawaii. And he's a real trooper because, oh, excuse me, you're calling in from Ann Arbor today. I'm not going to give you as much credit, Alan, but Alan is very faithful about joining our calls from Hawaii. So he's calling in at 4 or 5 in the morning. Alan Young is in Evanston, well, a suburb of Evanston, Illinois, which is the headquarters of Rotary. And she's been very active because her daughter was a Peace Corps volunteer in the Dominican Republic. And even before we had our partnership in place, Alan was doing partnership projects between her club and Peace Corps volunteers in the DR. Fred Cowan is joining us from Louisville, Kentucky. He and our outgoing board member, Bill Miller, really led the way to create a Peace Corps Rotary Committee in his district that's working closely with our PCVs of Kentucky. So it's a great example of how we hope everybody will go talk to your district governor, your governor-elect, and try to start a committee in your district so that word can get out to every Rotary club about how the partnership can benefit their international service work or their work at home, helping refugees or whatever other needs there are that our PCVs are also very interested in. Keith Bell, as Kim mentioned, has already been very active from Nashville, North Carolina. And at the Rotary Convention, I think you recruited about 30 new members to join Partnering for Peace. And I would like to just point out that while the membership is free, the importance of getting more people to become members is because we need a lot of help. And the partnership is only as good as it works on the grassroots. All across the world, especially in U.S. districts, because the Peace Corps is a U.S. volunteer agency. So Keith has been very active, and we're pleased that he's going to chair the membership committee. Kim will talk more about committees in a minute. Terrence Stevenson lives in Seattle. He is a Rotary Peace Fellow, and he's really talented with communications. And since Karin is rotating off the board, we need somebody to team up with Chantel and the other communication committee members to help us keep a strong presence all across the various social media and website and Rotary and Peace Corps communication vehicles. So we're happy that Terrence is joining us. And then Molly O'Brien is relatively new to Partnering for Peace, but she works for the National Peace Corps Association, but she does live in Grand Rapids, so she works remotely for NPCA. But we're really excited that Molly can team up with Erica to keep Partnering for Peace, to have a strong presence with the National Peace Corps Association and all the other affiliate groups. So that's our slate. And again, what I'd like to encourage everybody on the call is that to please consider joining a committee. Please consider promoting Partnering for Peace back in your districts, and let us know if you'd like to be considered for next year's board. But with that, it's also my duty to conduct the election. So I'd like to see if there's a motion to accept this slate of board members so that we can elect them today. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is Kim? Okay.
Mhm.
I second Karen Pupor.
Oh, Karen, thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Can I ask everybody to please vote by saying aye or raising your hands?
Aye.
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 Okay, anybody opposed? Well, thank you. And congratulations, Alan and Ellen and Fred, Keith, Terrence, and Molly. We're really excited to have you on the board of Partnering for Peace, and your term will start January 1st, but you all are very active already. And so our bylaws say that the new board, which will meet in January, will elect the officers. So the governance committee does put a slate together. And at the time we sent this report out, we didn't have to have all the officers in place yet, but we did have Kim Dixon, who has agreed to stay on as president, and Ross Fieser has agreed to stay on as treasurer. But I'm very pleased that Fred Cowan has agreed to serve as vice president. That's not showing in the written report. And Molly O'Brien's agreed to be secretary for next year. So, so the board will deliberate in January and approve their officers for 2023. So we do have now a full slate of candidates to be to be officers next year. So again, I'll just finish by encouraging all of you to please help us back in your home districts and your clubs by talking up the partnership and encouraging Rotary clubs to work closely with Peace Corps volunteers or our PCV groups. And please consider joining a committee and write to me, and I'll put my email in the chat window if you have an interest in getting more involved and maybe being considered for next year's board. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Kim.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Steve. That was just perfect. Thank you. And I will reiterate Steve's comments that we really like to have our board members come from our active members, our active volunteers. They know what's going on and how they can contribute to the board. So that's been really helpful, and you've all been helping us this year, and we appreciate that. Let me share my screen here if I can, Steve. I will priorities for 2023. We are, oops, there we go. We took on a lot last year, and we're really busy, and we don't want to be that busy this year. At least, well, we do, but in a different way. And so we've really identified two priorities. I've talked with almost all our board members, and two things that we really want to focus on next year, and you can help us focus on that. The first one is joint project documentation. As Lila said, and Ted has told us, and Carrie as well. This is so helpful if we can document what we're doing together to give ideas to our members, to give ideas to Rotary clubs in country and in the US, and to RPCVs, and now to PCVs. I mean, so great. And that is going to be, that's one of our big things, and that'll be sitting in a membership committee. And the second one is focusing on districts. We just think, and we've been saying this for a long time, that we want to try to build awareness through either district conferences, and we've all worked them. I have a banner, or a poster I can give you and mail to you if you want to work it in your district. And also helping to build a Peace Corps Alliance committee, or maybe even a new RPCV Rotary Club. And the Rotary Peace Corps Week will focus on these two areas. And moving, so we need your help to do this. We need everybody's help. Let's just talk about committees. We hope to be doing most of our work in committees next year, and they are. And I'm going to ask everyone, the chairs, to give a comment if they would. The first one is membership. The membership not only gets new members, but gives them the tools to become a successful participant and working on our mission. So we want to support the joint project documentation, and that's going to be a subcommittee underneath membership, and that's going to be run by Erica Brolette. And then also Keith Bell is going to be, has been and continues to reach out to interview all the new members. So some of you may have gotten calls from him, so please talk to him. And Keith, as the new membership chair for next year, do you mind saying a few words?
Okay, let me be sure you're on. Yes. How's that? I lost my internet connection a few minutes ago and have just now gotten back on, so I may have missed some important things. Well, in my view about membership, there's several stages to it. One is recruiting new members, of course, and then onboarding new members once we get them. And then once we've onboarded them, I want to do a census of our membership and use that software that I just saw recently. Fantastic piece of software there. I don't know how to use it, but I'd like to. I intend to learn how to use it, because I'd like to find that I can locate someone's telephone number, street address, their country of service, any Peace Corps, other connections that they may have, Rotary connections, so we kind of get a better feel of who our members are. Going back to recruiting new members, I think that attendance at Rotary District annual meetings is great. That's how I got a lot of new members to sign up for my district. I just had a table at our district conference and I handed out pins and membership forms, and I got a bunch of people. I think that was successful, and it should be repeated as often as we can get a volunteer to attend a Rotary District conference and get into their house of friendship and hold up a sign or a banner or something just to wave the flag. Another way of recruiting new members, I think, is to have some advertising in the Peace Corps in PCA View magazine, Worldview, and in the Rotarian. I think that would be a great source of bringing awareness to the membership of those two groups. And I expect that we'll get a lot of new members that way. Another way of getting new members is to identify return volunteers as they're leaving their countries and coming back to the States, to sign them up for Rotaries if they haven't already been engaged with Rotary clubs in country. Once they come back to the States, we want to get them into a Rotary club here and naturally into Partnering for Peace as well. So that's a lot of different stages, a lot of moving parts in membership, but I intend to use my committee members to take off little pieces of that so that nobody gets overwhelmed with any one project. So that's what I've got to say.
And that's perfect. Thank you, Keith. A lot of good ideas. And I'll just jump to the bottom of the slide real quickly. If you want to help Keith with membership or Erica with the documentation of joint projects, just the emails down there, and then just put in the subject line, membership support. We'll get back. We'll make sure everything goes to the right person. The second committee, and again, I'm trying to stress that we're going to be doing most of our work in committee this year. The next committee is outreach, and that Alan is graciously agreed to be the chair of that, and Alan Young to be the vice chair. So between the two of them, they're going to be a dangerous duo. Also, people on the committee have already done these things, as Keith mentioned, and Alan has done Partnering for Peace booths at their district conferences. I have one. I don't know if you can see me, but here's my little poster that we can, I'll give you, and we can pass it around. We can, Fred, who's just joined the board, help to create a Rotary Peace Corps Alliance Committee for his district, which was fabulous. Charlie's got tons of experience creating a new Rotary Club for our PCVs, a satellite club. There's so many things going on. And Alan, would you like to speak for a couple minutes since you're awake in Michigan?
Sure. I just like to say that we can all help with outreach. It's something that I think should be a natural for all of us. One of the things that happened to me after I met Charlie Hunt a few years ago, pre-pandemic, I got more involved with the international service part of Rotary. And as you know, that's one of the 5 avenues of service within Rotary. And so by becoming more involved in the international service at the club level, that naturally led me to become more active with the international service at the district level. And with the district that I'm in, District 5,000 for the entire state of Hawaii, we have an international service team that helps with teaching others how to put together the global grants and district grants that fund the different kinds of projects that Rotary has done to do. And so that in itself, just be more involved in the international service part of Rotary will help anyone and help our Partnering for Peace. The other thing is, of course, Kim has already mentioned about having a poster at your district conference. I put together a table booth at our past district conference, and a lot of people do come up and ask questions. And of course, one of the most interesting comments is, wow, I didn't know Peace Corps still existed, which is unfortunate, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for all of us active people in Partnering for Peace to talk about what we did in Peace Corps and what we continue to do in service through Rotary. And then finally, I would say, if you haven't already, find the Peace Corps RPCV group that is within your local area. Join it and become a part of it. I've been so active with it since meeting Charlie. I kind of got forced into becoming the VP for our RPCVs of Hawaii. And I've been enjoying it because I found great resources for now, putting together talks for our typical Rotary meetings. As you know, we always do these talks, and believe you me, they are your members will be very interested to hear from Return Peace Corps volunteers. And so with that, I ask all of you to get involved in the way I've mentioned, and let's move forward, and let's create a larger base of members in Partnering for Peace.
Great. Thank you, Alan. That's perfect. And again, write an email to info@partneringforpeace.org and put outreach in the subject line, and we'll get it to Alan, and he can, he'll be having outreach committee meetings, so you can join and you can participate and contribute as you like. That's just great. Thank you, Alan. Next is communications. And I think Terrence is not with us. I think he's on a plane leaving the country right now. But he did remind me to just mention to everyone to post things on our Partnering for Peace, to like the posts that we put up there on Facebook and LinkedIn, and to comment and to share. When we share posts, they exponentially grow in viewership. So write articles, help with the Rotary Peace Corps Week media. So many things you can do there, but a lot of them are just little, just go to the Facebook page for Partnering for Peace or the LinkedIn page, make a comment, share them. I think that's the biggest thing. Maybe I'll ask Karen if you wanted to, I saw you put some things in chat, but give us your 1 minute what to do, Karen.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm the outgoing communications chair, Karen Pupor. So everything that's on the screen is one of the ways that we can get the word out and just promote is when you see something from Partnering for Peace appear in your feed in Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, just give it a like, drop a comment. We love that. I love responding to comments on the back end over here. Those are the 3 platforms that we are on, but the more people who see those posts, or the more engagement a post gets, the more people who will end up seeing it. Also, share the post to your feed. So oftentimes we share things that you might want to share forward to your own network. If you share that post, that also bumps up Partnering for Peace in the algorithm. And so those are really easy things that you can do spontaneously to help out. And in general, we are always looking for support with, what we do in communications is also a lot of marketing, a lot of promotions. If you have any experience or ideas or thoughts in that, we would love to hear them. We would love for folks to join in and even take on just small, special, focused projects to help get the word out to even just one group of people. So let us know, and email info@partneringforpeace.org with communications in the subject line, and we can connect you with Terrence, our incoming communications chair. Thank you.
Perfect,
Kevin
Karen.
here. This is Kevin here. Can I speak a bit?
Please.
I am on the communications committee, but beyond that, I want to talk to you about the fact, as I sit here and look and listen to all of you, there's been 7 or 8 times that I've said to myself, I really would like to be able to follow up in the conversation with what other people are doing and into a real exchange in terms of how to get things going on in the field. I've been working to get a Rotary grant for a community in Malawi we started before COVID, and we have been delayed by a number of different things, but the delay has allowed us a very small group of people, past district governor of Western New York, Kevin Crosby, who's been to Malawi several times with me and has made a movie there for us, who is in a district that covers both Canada, Ontario, Canada, and Western New York. So he's already international. And you've heard the name Tony Agnello mentioned many times. Tony's been one member, and then Liz Fanning has been part of our think tank, if you will. The result of that is that we've done a lot of work on kind of thinking through, and mind you, this was before I joined PFP, or we even knew it existed as we were doing our talking. But it's a group that I would like to say is not a PFP group, but it's an exchange of information group for anybody who wants to use it that way. And my thought is, first, as a simple start, would it be possible to get email addresses for each and every one of you who was here today? And then I would send out some material to you, and you could then come back to me and say whether you want to continue being connected with us. And if you do, then we'll have a, trying to meet on Zoom every, every month or every 3 months, just doesn't let us explore ideas as much as I think we can be. We lay out hints of what we're doing, but we're not really getting to the point where we can share and help each other with that. And so if anybody wants to respond to that, I'd appreciate it.
Kevin, I'm thinking it's a good point, and I think it's communication and sharing of information, and hopefully it's Peace Corps and Rotary things. I think and Karen, you can tell me another idea, but I think the best thing you could do would be to post things on the Partnering for Peace Facebook page, and then people can respond and comment and put their emails in. Karen, does that sound to you like it might be the most effective way for Kevin to get more ideas out there?
I mean, that's one way, is to post to social media. And if you want to have more of a conversation that you feel like you can lead, and if any of our members want to do this, create a space for it, we can definitely advertise that through our social media, send it out to our lists, and see who joins in, right? I mean, if you just create the space,
okay,
anybody who wants to do that, we can advertise it.
Let me stop you there and say, the group that we have formed is called TEF, the Extended Family. And we are broadening the scope and taking what we're seeing Peace Corps and Rotary do, but to try to expand it beyond that, to get it to a much broader population. So if I was going to communicate, it wouldn't be as a representative of Partner for Peace, it would be a source for people to exchange information, okay? And they can make the choice of whether they want to do it or not. We have a lot of material already up and ready to go, and people could take a look at it and say, this is useful or not. But I don't see the newsletter as being a very effective way to reach out, to be honest with you, because I'm trying to reach out much beyond Rotary itself.
Sure. Okay, Kevin. Well, this goes for all of our members. So if you have a special interest project, let's call this a special interest, right? This is for people who are interested in what you're putting together. You can always send things like that to Partnering for Peace, and we will promote them through our network. However, we won't share out contact information for people. So if you are in this call and what Kevin is saying is interesting to you, send him a message, maybe even use the direct chat feature so it doesn't go out to everybody if you're worried about that. And then Kevin, you can collect those, you can save the chat. In fact, there's a little feature, any of us can save the chat so that you have it. But you're also, anybody here, if you have a special interest, welcome to send it over. We post things like that on our social media and promote them out all the time. That I feel like is what Partnering for Peace can do in that case. And but just so everybody here knows, we won't share everybody's email addresses out with anybody else. That's all confidential.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kevin, you might want to put your email in the chat so people
What
can
I-
contact you if they're interested.
What I would
And-
like to ask of the people that are here today, how would I get in touch with you outside of the PFP circle here to just share information that I'm sending out to a number of people? And it doesn't necessarily have to be identified as a partnering for peace project. So the simple question is, how can I contact you guys? How do I contact you that are on this call today?
I think,
I think you
a best practice is always to make sure people opt in to your communication. And so I think, Kevin, the best thing for you to do right now, put a little description in the chat of what it is exactly, like what is the project, and then people will reach out to you if they want more information, but people need to opt into communications. Kim, I know that we have a agenda we're trying to stick to here, so I think it's time to move on, but Kevin, I really appreciate you bringing that forward. And if you ever have any, I know you sent me something the other day, if you ever have any special interest things, I'm also happy to promote them through Partnering for Peace's networks, even if they're not a Partnering for Peace project. They don't need to be. I'm happy to promote things.
And that's what I see as a bigger partnership. I appreciate it.
Great, good, thank you. And thank you, Karen, for your ideas. You might want to look on the bottom of our website as well. In the past year or two, because we have peace in our name, we were getting a lot of different peace initiatives. And so we put on our website a peace corner in the bottom right-hand corner. And that was something that's really not a Partnering for Peace initiative, but that we wanted to share. So there's several different things and you can look those over. But again, would put your email in the chat if you want people to contact you and that are interested, Kevin. And moving on, Melbourne. If you are going to Melbourne, the Rotary International Convention, tell us. Steve Werner is starting an initiative to try to get us a booth there. So, well, why don't I let you talk about it for just a minute, Steve, and then we'll be done.
Okay, thanks, Kim. When we started the partnership and then Partnering for Peace to be the marketing arm of the partnership, we always had it in our mind that this could be a great partnership for other countries that have similar organizations to Peace Corps. So at last count, over 40 countries have Peace Corps-like organizations. And so we didn't see this as being exclusive to the US. We hope that Canada, England, Japan, Korea, even Thailand and Jamaica have Peace Corps-like organizations. So, but Peace Corps can't go to Melbourne because of agency rules about not traveling that far away to promote Peace Corps. So Partnering for Peace is planning to have a booth, and I appreciate if you're going to let me know so I could get your help in the booth. And what we would be doing is talking to any Americans about the US Peace Corps Rotary Partnership, but we talked to Rotarians around the world about replicating Partnering for Peace and the partnership in their countries. So bottom line is we're planning to have a booth and we could use help for a shift or two while you're there. So please let me know if you're going to attend. You could either put it in the chat window right now, even if you're thinking of going, but you haven't paid yet, or, please let me know. Or earlier in the chat, I put my email address. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you, Steve. With that, I think we are kind of over our time. We try to keep it to an hour. Did anyone else have any quick questions? Or you can always email me at info@partneringforpeace.org.
Kim, I would like to add that during this meeting, we have added 2 new members to Partnering for Peace.
Thank you, Charlie. Was there anything in the chat you wanted to share?
No, not necessarily. Nothing. There hasn't been anything that is specifically. I think we've addressed all the questions. It's just
all right.
Can we
Perfect.
do one big, because I know you won't, Kim, but like one big applause to Kim Dixon for leading us through this year, because we are a volunteer organization and sometimes we are cat-like in our reflexes to avoid doing the things we said we would do. I know I've done that, and Kim keeps us going. So thank you, Kim, for leading us so gracefully and bravely.
Thank
Kim,
you. Thank you very
if-
much.
If I may mention, I looked at the strategic plan and it says, or the saying is, people join an organization because of its vision. Our vision is a bunch of activities. Visions are usually aspirational, what the world will be when we're successful, the world we're aiming for. I suggest it'd be lovely to improve it, and I'm willing to help with that if that's desired.
Chris, we're going to be updating our, thank you for that. We're going to be updating our strategy document. So if you don't mind, put a note in the info@partneringforpeace.org and put strategy in the subject line. And we'd love to, we're looking for enhancements and edits to that. So thank you all. Great. Okay, anybody else before we wrap up? All right, thank you all. This has just been, it's been an honor to help work with all of you to move things forward. And next year, I think with the volunteers back, I'm just so excited. It's going to be a great year. I want to thank Ellen, Keith, Alan, Fred, Terrence, and Molly for stepping up. It's going to be a great year with all of your fresh ideas and input, and keep us all honest so that we make sure we exploit you to the fullest. All right. With that, I think we'll drop off. All right. Thank you all for your time and attention. God bless.